Aaron worked with his hands more than his words. On the wide and crowded space station called Haven Port, that made him easy to miss. People passed him every day without learning his name. He fixed doors that would not close, engines that hummed the wrong way, and pipes that leaked warm steam into cold halls. He wore simple clothes, kept his hair short, and spoke only when needed. To most beings on the station he was just another human mechanic. Haven Port was never quiet. Lights glowed day and night. Footsteps echoed through metal halls. Voices of many species mixed together, each with its own sound and rhythm. Some spoke in soft tones, others in sharp clicks or long musical notes. Aaron had learned to tell moods by posture more than sound. Anger leaned forward. Fear pulled inward. Joy moved freely. He liked the station because it made sense. Broken things had reasons. If you listened and looked closely you could fix them. Lara was one of the few who stopped to talk. She often sat near the open engine bays where Aaron worked, balancing on a rail with ease. She looked mostly human at first glance, but small details set her apart. Her eyes reflected light differently, showing faint colors when she moved. Her hair shifted slightly as if responding to her mood. Her skin held a soft glow, never bright but never dull. She smiled often. She laughed easily. "You humans look so serious when you work," Lara said one day, leaning closer as Aaron tightened a bolt. "Do you think smiling will break the machine?" Aaron wiped his hands on a cloth. "Sometimes," he replied. "Machines don't like being laughed at." She laughed anyway. Lara liked jokes. She liked teasing humans most of all. She said they reacted in funny ways. Some got angry. Some got shy. Some tried too hard to impress her. Aaron did none of that, which only made her more interested. They talked in small moments. Short breaks. Passing words. Lara told him about different species on the station, which ones argued the most, which ones avoided humans, which ones secretly loved human music. Aaron listened. He always listened. Over time she told him more personal things. How she left her home world young. How her people believed names were more than labels. How they were stories, promises, and weight carried from birth. Aaron found that interesting. He asked careful questions. Not too many. Not too fast. One cycle, while they watched cargo ships drift past a wide window, Lara seemed especially playful. "You know," she said, tapping the glass with one finger, "no outsider has ever known my true name." Aaron glanced at her. "Is that important?" She nodded. "Very. My public name is only a shadow. My true name holds who I really am." "That sounds heavy," Aaron said. "It is," she replied, then smiled. "Which is why I find it funny." She leaned back and stretched. "I once joked that if a human ever guessed my true name, I would marry them." Aaron raised an eyebrow. "And did anyone try?" "Oh yes," she said with a grin. "They guessed sounds, symbols, translations. They failed every time." "Why?" Aaron asked. "Because they didn't listen," Lara said simply. She laughed again, clearly enjoying the memory. To her it was only a joke. A harmless tease about how impossible it was for an outsider to truly understand her people. Aaron did not laugh. He looked back at his work, turning the idea over in his mind. Not the marriage part. The name part. "What makes a name true?" he asked. Lara blinked, surprised by the question. "It reflects what you are," she said slowly. "Not what you want to be. Not what others see. What you choose again and again." Aaron nodded. "That makes sense." She tilted her head. "Most humans don't say that." He shrugged. "Most humans talk more than they listen." That made her smile softer this time. The station lights dimmed slightly, marking the end of the cycle. Workers passed by, tired and loud. Lara hopped down from the rail. "Well," she said, "if you ever want to try guessing my true name, let me know. I could use the laugh." Aaron met her eyes. "I don't think it's something to guess." She paused just for a moment. Then she laughed it off. "See? Too serious." She waved and walked away, her steps light. Aaron watched her go. He returned to his work, but his thoughts stayed with her words. Names as stories. Names as truth. He thought of all the times Lara helped lost visitors, teased angry traders into calm, defended humans when others spoke poorly of them. He realized something quietly. She did not hide who she was. Others just did not see it. Aaron did not plan anything. He did not chase an answer. He simply continued as he always did, working, listening, observing. Lara's joke echoed in his mind, not as a challenge but as a question. And for the first time since coming to Haven Port, Aaron felt that something simple might soon change everything. The conversation about names did not end that day. It followed Aaron through the station like a quiet echo. He heard it in the low hum of engines, in the steady beat of tools against metal, in the calm spaces between words. Lara's voice returned to him often, light and joking, yet carrying something deeper beneath it. A few cycles later, the station held a shared rest period. Many workers gathered in the open commons, a wide space filled with long tables, hanging lights, and windows that showed the slow movement of stars. Different species came here to eat, talk, and pass time together. It was one of the few places where everyone mixed without reason or rule. Aaron sat near the edge as he usually did, with a simple meal and a quiet view of the room. Lara arrived surrounded by voices and laughter. She moved easily through the crowd, greeting friends, responding to comments, teasing here and there. When she laughed, others laughed with her. When she spoke, people listened. She had that kind of presence without trying. Someone asked her about names again. It was a trader from a small moon world, curious and bold. "Is it true," he said, "that your people hide their real names even from close friends?" Lara smiled and nodded. "Yes. A true name is not given lightly. It carries meaning, memory, and promise." Another voice joined in. "Then why keep it secret?" "Because," Lara said, "once someone truly knows your name, they know you. Not the version you show. The real one." The group grew quieter. Aaron listened from his seat, his hands resting still on the table. "And," Lara added, her tone turning playful again, "that is why I once joked that I would marry any human who guessed my true name." Laughter spread quickly. Some laughed out of surprise. Some laughed because it sounded impossible. A few laughed because they thought it was romantic nonsense. "A human?" someone said. "Guess an alien true name? That would take a miracle," another replied. "Or luck," someone joked. Lara laughed with them, waving a hand. "Exactly. It is not something to take seriously." She looked around, enjoying the attention, then her eyes landed briefly on Aaron. He did not laugh. He did not smile or speak. He simply met her gaze, calm and thoughtful, then looked away. Lara felt something shift, though she could not name it. Several beings tried to guess anyway, turning it into a game. They guessed sounds from her language. They guessed meanings they had heard in stories. They guessed symbols, titles, and poetic phrases. Each guess made the group laugh more. Lara shook her head every time. "No," she said. "No. No." She was relaxed, confident. To her, it was harmless fun. None of them were close. None of them truly knew her. Aaron stayed where he was. He listened to every guess. He listened to every reason behind them. He listened to the way Lara reacted, what made her amused, what made her pause, what made her gently correct someone. He noticed that she never mocked anyone. She never acted proud. She simply explained, patiently, that they were missing something. When the game finally ended, people drifted away, bored or distracted by other things. The noise in the commons slowly returned to normal. Lara walked over to Aaron and sat across from him. "You didn't try," she said. Aaron looked up. "You didn't ask me to." She smiled. "You're human. That doesn't mean I should guess." She tilted her head. "Why not?" "Because guessing is about being right," Aaron said. "And what you described sounds like being honest." Lara frowned slightly, not upset, just thoughtful. "You surprise me," she said. He shrugged. "I fix machines. I listen first." She laughed softly. "You really are different from the others." They sat in silence for a while, watching the stars through the wide window. Ships drifted slowly, their lights blinking in steady patterns. "My true name," Lara said quietly, "is not just a word. It is shaped by my choices. By how I treat others. By what I protect." Aaron nodded. "Then it changes." "Yes," she said. "It grows." "That makes it harder to guess," he replied. She smiled. "Exactly." To her it was still a joke. A clever idea that showed how distant humans were from her culture. But Aaron felt something else forming beneath the humor. He noticed how careful she was with others' feelings. How she stepped between arguments before they grew sharp. How she defended humans when they were spoken of as weak or careless. He saw patterns. When Lara finally stood to leave, she paused. "You know," she said lightly, "if you ever change your mind, you're welcome to try." Aaron looked up at her. "I won't guess." She raised an eyebrow. "Ever?" "If I speak," he said, "it won't be a guess." Her smile faded just a little, replaced by something quieter. Something uncertain. She laughed again to cover it. "Humans say strange things." Then she walked away. Aaron watched her go, feeling no rush, no excitement, only a calm certainty settling inside him. He did not need to rush. He did not need to prove anything. He would listen. And if the time came, he would speak only what he knew to be true. The moment came quietly. There was no crowd, no laughter, and no challenge spoken aloud. It happened during one of the calm cycles, when Havenport slowed and the station seemed to rest. The lights were dimmer, the halls less crowded, and the constant noise softened into a low hum. Aaron was working near one of the outer observation decks. A panel needed repair, nothing urgent, just something that would become a problem later if ignored. He liked these jobs. They gave him time to think. Lara arrived without sound, as she often did. She leaned against the railing near the wide window, watching the stars drift past. Her posture was relaxed, but her thoughts were not. Aaron noticed that right away. Her hands moved slowly, tracing patterns on the rail. Her eyes followed nothing in particular. "You always come here when you need quiet," Aaron said without looking up. Lara smiled faintly. "I didn't know you noticed." "I notice," he replied simply. They stood in silence for a while. Outside the window, a distant sun cast soft light across the station's metal skin. The stars looked calm, steady, uncaring. Lara broke the silence. "People still talk about the joke," she said. Aaron nodded. "I figured they would. They keep asking me if I regret saying it," she added. As if words spoken lightly can trap someone. "Do you regret it?" Aaron asked. She thought for a moment. "No," she said. "But I didn't expect it to follow me." Aaron finished tightening the panel and stood up. He wiped his hands slowly, then leaned beside her at the railing. He did not face her directly. He looked out at the stars. "I never thought you were joking," he said. Lara turned her head, surprised. "What do you mean?" "I think you were laughing," Aaron said, "but not joking." She studied his face. "Explain." "You spoke about your true name like it was alive," he said. "Like it mattered more than pride or tradition. That's not how people joke." Lara's expression grew serious. "Most humans don't hear that." "Most humans are busy talking," Aaron replied. Another stretch of silence followed. This one felt heavier. Lara crossed her arms lightly. "You've been thinking about it," she said. It was not a question. "Yes." She took a slow breath. "Are you going to guess?" Aaron shook his head. "No." She frowned slightly. "Then why bring it up?" He turned to face her fully now. His voice stayed calm, gentle. "Because there's something you should know." Lara felt a strange tension rise in her chest. "What?" Aaron did not answer right away. He looked at her carefully, not as a puzzle to solve, but as someone he already knew. "When you talk to strangers," he said, "you soften your voice." She blinked. "I do." "Yes," he said. "You don't want them to feel small." He continued slowly, choosing each word with care. "When someone is angry, you step closer, not back. You make yourself part of the problem so it doesn't grow." Lara's hands lowered to her sides. "You defend people who aren't there," Aaron said. "Even when it costs you respect." Her breathing slowed. "You laugh easily," he went on, "but you listen more than anyone I've met. You remember things others forget. Names. Stories. Small hurts." The station felt very quiet. Aaron did not speak faster. He did not raise his voice. "You carry light," he said. "Not because you shine, but because you make space for others to see." Lara's eyes widened. "You carry courage," he continued. "Not loud courage. The kind that stays when running would be easier." She stopped breathing for a moment. "And kindness," he finished, "not because you are gentle, but because you choose to be." Aaron took a step back. "That is what your true name means," he said softly. "Not a word. A way of being." Lara froze. Her body went still, as if the station gravity had shifted. Her mind raced, searching for defense, for laughter, for denial. None came. He had not spoken a sound. He had not named letters or tones. He had not reached into her language. He had reached into her. No one had ever done that before. "You didn't guess," she whispered. "No," Aaron said. "I listened." Her hands trembled slightly. She looked away, then back at him. "Do you know what you've done?" "I think so," he replied. "And I won't claim anything from it." "That's not how it works," she said, her voice tight. "I know," he said. "That's why I didn't speak sooner." Lara pressed her hand against her chest. Her true name echoed inside her, not as sound, but as recognition. Everything he described was true. Painfully true. "You see me?" she said. Aaron nodded. "I do." Emotion rose fast, unexpected and overwhelming. She had spent her life protected by distance, by humor, by culture. And a quiet human mechanic had stepped through all of it without force. "You were never meant to understand," she said softly. "I wasn't trying to," he replied. I just didn't look away. Lara laughed once, breathless and unsteady. I wasn't ready, she admitted. Aaron smiled faintly. Neither was I. They stood together in silence, no longer strangers, no longer playing games. The stars outside continued their slow movement, unaware that something rare had happened inside the station. A human had not guessed an alien's true name. He had known it. And Lara understood in that quiet moment that her life had already changed. Lara did not move for a long time. The station lights hummed softly above them. Far beyond the window, stars drifted in slow silence. Everything around her felt normal, yet nothing inside her was the same. Her thoughts moved too fast, then stopped, then started again in broken pieces. She had always known what her true name meant. She had carried it since childhood, shaped by lessons, mistakes, choices, and quiet promises to herself. It was not something that could be spoken aloud. It was something that could only be lived. Her people believed that if someone truly understood another's true name, then their lives were no longer separate. Such understanding created responsibility. It created a bond. That was why it was protected. That was why it was never given lightly. And now a human had seen it without asking. Lara's hands curled into fists at her sides. Her chest felt tight as if the air had grown thinner. She wanted to laugh, to say something light, to turn the moment into a joke again. That was her habit. Humor had always been her shield. But the words would not come. You shouldn't have said that, she finally whispered. Aaron did not react with surprise or defense. He only nodded slowly. I know. She turned to face him fully now. Her eyes searched his face, looking for pride, for expectation, for claim. She found none of it. His expression was calm, steady, almost worried. Do you understand what it means? She asked. I understand enough, Aaron said. Enough to know I don't deserve anything from it. That answer shook her more than his words before. In my culture, Lara said carefully, understanding a true name binds two lives. It is not romance alone. It is not friendship. It is trust placed so deep it cannot be undone. Aaron listened as he always did. It means, she continued, her voice unsteady, that you see my failures as well as my strengths. That you carry responsibility for my future and I for yours. It is not something taken. It is something accepted. Aaron lowered his gaze. I didn't mean to place that on you. Lara laughed softly, but there was no humor in it. You didn't place it, she said. You revealed it. She turned away and paced a few steps, trying to calm her racing thoughts. Memories rose unbidden. Elders teaching her the meaning of names. Stories of bonds formed too early, too carelessly, that ended in pain. Warnings spoken again and again. Do not let yourself be known by those who do not understand the weight. And yet Aaron had understood without being taught. She stopped and pressed her hands against the cool metal wall. I joked about marriage, she said quietly. I never thought it would come close to truth. Aaron stepped back, giving her space. I never took it as a promise. She looked at him over her shoulder. But you didn't dismiss it either. No, he said. Because I could tell it mattered to you. That simple honesty broke something open inside her. Lara felt emotion rise, sharp and sudden. Fear, yes, but also relief. She had never felt so clearly seen. Not by her own people. Not by those who shared her language and history. They knew the rules. Aaron had known her. She turned back to him. Why? She asked. Why me? Aaron frowned slightly. I don't think it's about you being special. That made her blink. What? I think it's about you being consistent, he said. You choose kindness even when no one is watching. You stand firm without needing praise. Anyone who pays attention could see that. Then why didn't they? She asked. Because they were busy being heard, Aaron replied. You were busy listening. The words settled between them. Lara sank onto a nearby bench, suddenly tired. Aaron remained standing, unsure if he was still welcome near her. After a moment, she patted the space beside her. He sat. They sat in silence for a long time. In my culture, Lara said at last, when such understanding happens, both sides must speak truth. Aaron nodded. Then I'll start. He turned slightly toward her. I don't want anything from you. Not status. Not bond. Not promise. If you tell me to forget this moment, I will try. If you ask me to leave, I will. She stared at him. That's not how bonds work. I know, he said. But it's how care works. Her eyes burned. She looked away quickly, ashamed of the sudden tears. You make this very difficult, she muttered. I'm sorry, Aaron said gently. She laughed through her breath. Don't be. She wiped her eyes and took a steadying breath. I spent so long hiding behind humor because it kept people from looking too close, she said. And you never once pushed. You just stayed. Aaron nodded. Staying is easy when you care. Lara closed her eyes. In that moment she understood something she had not before. The joke had never been about marriage. It had been about fear. Fear that someone might one day see her fully. And that day had come. She opened her eyes and looked at him. I won't pretend this didn't happen, she said. I can't. I wouldn't ask you to, Aaron replied. I also won't bind you without choice, she continued. My culture values consent above tradition. Aaron met her gaze. Then I choose honesty. She smiled faintly. That may be the most human answer you could give. They stood together and walked slowly toward the window. Stars filled the view, distant and bright. The joke is over, Lara said softly. Aaron nodded. Yes. And the truth? She asked. He thought for a moment. The truth is still unfolding. Lara felt fear again, but it no longer ruled her. She felt something steadier take its place. Trust, fragile but real. For the first time she understood that the joke she once laughed at had never been empty. It had simply been waiting for someone who would listen. Lara did not make her choice in secret. That alone surprised many. In her culture, deep bonds were often quiet things, shared only with family or elders. But Lara had always lived between worlds. She understood that silence could protect, but it could also hide truth. And this truth mattered. The next shared rest cycle, she stood in the central commons of Haven Port. The space was full as it often was. Workers ate, talked, argued and laughed. Different species mixed in loose groups. When Lara stepped forward, conversations slowly faded. People noticed her posture first. She stood straight, calm and certain. Aaron stood at the edge of the room, unaware of what was about to happen. He had only come to fix a faulty light panel. When he saw Lara, he frowned slightly, sensing tension. She spoke clearly, her voice steady. I want to speak of something important, she said. All eyes turned to her. In my culture, she continued, a true name is not sound. It is meaning. It is choice. It is the way a person lives when no one demands it. Murmurs spread through the room. Recently, Lara said, a human understood my true name without asking for it. Aaron stiffened. He did not guess, she said. He did not demand. He listened. She turned and looked directly at Aaron. Gasps followed. I accept this bond openly, Lara said. Not as ownership. Not as command. But as trust. Silence fell heavy and complete. Aaron stepped forward slowly, his face pale. Lara, he said quietly, you don't have to. She raised a hand gently. I do, she replied. She faced the crowd again. This human is named Aaron. He is a mechanic. He fixes what others ignore. He listens when others speak. He sees value where others see nothing. Some shifted uncomfortably. Humans were often viewed as loud, emotional, or reckless. This was not the image many held. Because of him, Lara said, I now see humans differently, and I ask that you do the same. The silence broke into quiet discussion. Not anger. Not mockery. Curiosity. Aaron stood frozen, unsure what to do. Lara stepped down from the center and walked to him. She did not touch him. She simply stood beside him. You okay? She asked softly. He swallowed. You just changed my life. She smiled. You changed mine first. News spread fast. On Haven Port, stories traveled quicker than ships. By the next cycle, people spoke of the human mechanic who understood an alien's true name. Some dismissed it as rumor. Others came to see him. Aaron hated attention. But he did not run from it. When people asked questions, he answered honestly. When they misunderstood, he corrected them gently. He never claimed special knowledge. He never spoke of the bond unless asked. Lara stayed close, not as a guard but as a partner. They learned how to walk beside each other without leading or following. Soon, others began to seek Aaron out, not to fix machines but to explain misunderstandings. Small conflicts between species. Hurt feelings caused by different customs. Quiet tensions that had grown over time. Aaron listened. He asked simple questions. He repeated words back until he understood. He explained without judgment. Slowly patterns changed. Someone called him a bridge once. The name stuck. Aaron became more than a mechanic. He still fixed machines but he also fixed moments. He stood between voices that did not understand each other. He helped people see meaning instead of offense. Lara watched all of this with quiet pride. You never wanted this, she said one evening as they looked out at the stars. No, Aaron replied. But I won't walk away from it. That, she said, is why it works. Humans began to be spoken of differently. Not as conquerors. Not as survivors. But as listeners. Other stations asked for human mediators. Not soldiers. Not traitors. People who could hear without needing to win. Aaron trained others quietly. He taught them what he knew. Not rules but habits. Listen longer than feels comfortable, he told them. Speak only when you mean it. Lara's people took notice. Elders visited Haven Port. They watched Aaron closely. Some tested him with silence. Others with sharp words. He did not react. He waited. He answered only when truth was needed. In time they nodded. The bond was accepted. Not because it followed tradition but because it honored meaning. Years later, when stories were told across the stars, they did not speak of battles or weapons. They spoke of a human mechanic who understood a true name. They spoke of an alien woman who chose trust over fear. And they spoke of a species remembered not for power, but for understanding. Aaron stood once more at the observation window, Lara beside him. The stars looked the same as always, distant and endless. Do you ever regret it? He asked quietly. She smiled. Never. He nodded, feeling the truth of it settle deep inside. He had not guessed a name. He had listened. And because of that, the galaxy listened too.